Hello, hello.
Hello. We are
Woo!
live, guys. We are live. My name
It's
is Karan
live.
Ashley. Welcome to the BOP, the BLERD official podcast. You know me as your resident superhero. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
It's crazy. We've
It's
never
bop
gone
time.
live. It's BOP time, right? Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Like
It's,
it's
that's
BOP
good.
time.
That's good.
Yes. We are so excited. Oh my goodness, guys. I've got to introduce my co-host. They are amazing people. Mr. DC himself, Mr. BLERD Khan, Mr. Hilton George. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fine during this emergency session of the
Woo!
bop.
Oh my
We got
God.
to we got to bring it up and bring it down. I appreciate y'all
Woo!
coming together and giving me some peace of mind because I've been struggling. I've been hurt. I've been in a roller coaster of emotions, and I need some
Yeah.
therapy. So please be gentle with me. I'm fragile. Look
Yes.
at me. I'm fragile.
I
I
know,
Oh
need
my
I
some.
gosh.
know, I know. We are going to consider this our therapy session.
Yeah.
Christi Renee, how are you
Hello.
doing, my sister from another mister? How are you?
So I'm exhausted. The
I know.
week, the week has exhausted me. I'm
It's
I'm
only
like,
Tuesday.
it's
I
only
Wednesday. Whatever day.
that's how
We
bad it is. We don't even
yeah.
know what day it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in a yeah, I'm trying to get out of this vortex that we got sucked into. And so I'm
Right.
glad that we are going to talk about some stuff and try to really make it productive and progressive.
Yeah.
So we can put this thing to bed and keep it moving because we still got a whole lot of crazy going on in the
Yes.
world. So
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
want to be distracted by I don't get into anyway. We'll get into it. I'm
Yes.
here.
Yes.
I'm
She's
here, and I'm
here.
I'm here with a
Christi
glass of wine.
Renee is here. Oh my gosh, guys. For those of you who have been under a rock, all I have to say is this. There was what do they say? There was a fight at the family barbecue.
Child,
I don't
rumble
know
in the
if you
jungle.
missed it, if you saw it, but on this past Sunday, on the Oscars, we saw something very tragic happen. Will Smith, well, I'll just start from the beginning. Chris Rock was one of the presenters. He was presenting an award at the Oscars. And as most comedians do, they come out and they say a few jokes and then they present the award. So
They
he came
roast a
out.
little bit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. He's one of the, when you have a comedian, you use them for what they are great at, which is tell
Mhm.
some jokes. And he did that. He came out, he said some jokes. He saw Will and Jada, and he made a joke and basically said, to Jada Pinkett, he commented on her hair.
He said, I
Um,
quote, "Hey
yeah,
Jada, love you and looking forward. Can't wait for the next GI Jane 2." That's
yes,
it. That
that's
was
all
that
he
was it.
said. And you saw Will laugh. He laughed immediately. But you saw Jada at the same time. Her face was annoyed. She was instantly annoyed. The camera cut to Chris, and he saw Jada's expression, and he's like, "Hold up, it's a GI Jane joke," And he said, "It's all fun." And the next thing you know, you can tell something's going wrong. And whether you were on the East Coast or whether you were on the West Coast is what you actually saw. Because at
Mhm.
that point, the broadcast started to stumble, it started to freeze. You didn't know what was happening.
Mhm.
But the people on the East Coast saw Will Smith walk on the stage, walk up to Chris Rock, and slap him in the face. He turns around and walks back to his seat. Later, the full clip of what happened was released, and he sat in his chair and basically said, "Keep my wife's name out your effing mouth." And then Chris Rock said,
Twice.
"Yeah," he said, "I will." And he goes, "Keep my wife's name out your effing mouth." And Chris Rock was obviously stunned, and Will Smith was obviously upset. And it took him a minute. He stumbled on his words a little bit, and he finally reset himself and presented the award. And then they go to commercial break.
Which,
So,
which, by the way, I want to just insert this sunshine in that moment. The award was going to the documentary, and who won it was Questlove for Summer of Soul, and which was
yes, amazing.
phenomenal. And again, it was just a crazy
It
moment
was,
before then.
yeah,
But
it was an outrageous moment that was like totally overshadowed
hmm
Questlove's moment, which is his. I
hmm
mean, you look at it this way: when people win an Oscar, they waited their whole life. They waited their whole life. There was so much work that went into that, and so that moment was truly messed up. the show carried on. We later, Will Smith won his award for Best Actor. He goes on stage, cries, weeping, full emotional. It was like, to me, it was full emotional distress, and basically said that he was protecting his family and talked about how people made fun of him. And I mean, it was a very, I don't know. For me, it was an unfortunate opportunity because he apologized to the Academy. He apologized to the actors in his category, but he did not apologize to Chris Rock. So honestly, this is where we're coming from on this show. We want to talk about it because what blew my mind the most was how divided people were and how polarizing. Yeah, how polarizing this is kind of made. It's made people really mad. It's made people really sad. Later we found out that Jada has alopecia. A lot of people didn't know that. And that's why she's cut all her hair off. So it was just a terrible situation. It's funny because I was on a plane. I was literally flying back from Lexington Comic-Con. And if you know, there's no direct flight from Kentucky to, LA. So I had flew to Chicago, and I was on my flight from Chicago to LA, which is about 3.5, 4 hours long. So when I get off the plane, like my phone, it went crazy. And within seconds, the whole, like the 5 rows that I was near was like, did you see what happened? Did you see? So everybody on that plane knew what happened before we even got off the plane. Between the taxi to the door to the airplane, we all knew what happened. And I was floored. You guys had sent me a video. My husband had sent me the video. So I saw everything in real time. And it was tragic. It was triggering. And I felt like I couldn't believe, because in my opinion, I felt Will Smith assaulted Chris Rock. I get it. I've been mad. I've cussed people out. I have been in situations where I have, I've been in situations where we've gotten in each other's face, me and someone else, and we're angry, but never have we struck each other. Never has it been a situation where I feel like on national television, you hit someone. I just didn't know that was allowed. I didn't know that was allowed. I was shocked that he was able to stay on the broadcast, because I feel like you guys know, if you start a fight, you get kicked out of a place. You could start a fight right now in a restaurant and you're going to get kicked out of that restaurant. You start a fight if a kid starts a fight at school, they're going to get kicked out of school.
Yeah, we regular people.
It is just what happens. It's against the law, So I was shocked that he was able to stay. Reports today, I've been watching it all weekend because I knew we were going to talk about it. Reports today say that they approached him and told him to leave the Oscars, and he refused. So
again, in what world do we get to do that? But okay.
And this is the thing. I am not, Will Smith up until this point has been Hollywood's darling. He has been someone that people have revered. And I'm not just saying because he's famous, but people have said, this man has given me my opportunity. This man has helped my career. I saw D.L. Hughley, and he was one of the first people to say he assaulted that man. He should be arrested. And D.L. later did a whole thing on his site and basically said, Will had given him the chance. He was the person who warmed up the audience for the Fresh Prince. And Alfonso Ribeiro's father didn't like him because he would crack jokes on the people in the crowd, so he got fired. And Will knew that DL needed that job. He knew he had a family. He knew that was like, when you get a SAG job like that, that's your insurance, that was like, something he needed. He got him rehired. And for the rest of the Fresh Prince, he was the audience. He warmed up the audience. So this is someone who is his personal friend. And his personal friend said, you should not have gone on that stage and hit that man. So there we are. Okay, I want to bring you guys in. And it's not a matter of, because what I want to discuss and what I want this to be is a therapy session for all of us. Because I think everyone was triggered. Whether you're on Will's side or you're on Chris Rock's side, everyone is triggered. And it is terrible to unpack. But I want to open up the mic to you guys so that we can just get your initial reaction. We'll dive deep. We're going to peel back the layers. I just want to know your initial reaction for now. Hilton, what was your reaction?
Well, I was shocked just like everybody else. I had the rare pleasure of actually meeting Will Smith in a non-Hollywood scenario at a cyber conference in Las Vegas about 7 years ago, and he was just the most down-to-earth, gracious, kind person that you
I've
would
met
ever
him
meet.
too. He's so nice. Yeah.
Yes, what the image of Will Smith that you saw out there was very reflective of the person and how he carried himself when there was no cameras and there was no throngs of crowds and all that sort of stuff. So to see him do this was so out of pocket and so out of character that you just didn't know how to process it. You're like, there's still people now that think it was a bit or some kind of a joke or a hoax, because this is not what you would think he would do, right?
Right.
And the thing that I worry about, regardless of what side, and I've gone to great lengths to try not to minimize and boil this down too much, is that he was going through something. You don't take a step like that from a joke. And it was a tasteless joke. It wasn't that funny. It was off the cuff. It was on brand for Chris Rock, but Will had something else going on
himself. Yeah, he's a comedian himself.
So he understands, and he's hosted
initially
these awards before, so everybody kind of knows his shtick. And he really was coming out mild. He was just doing this one category,
right?
But my sense was totally about Will Smith is going through some type of emotional distress that has not been brought forward. And he just happened to be the person in the wrong place at the wrong time in the wrong situation to set that person off. And everybody here has known somebody who's cracked and who's snapped, and they're not snapping because of this is the straw that broke the camel's back. If you walk in a building and you're on 90, you're at 90%, and then somebody comes along with 10%, which you could normally handle, and that day you can't handle it, you're not going to blow up about what your real problem is, because you might be having problems with the bank and they're foreclosing your house or whatever, but somebody stepped on your shoe, and that's where you're at right now, dealing with this person in a very aggressive way. So that was the thing I wanted people to not boil down. And I think that when we unpeel and unpack this as this goes forward, we are going to find out what has been eating at Will. And, we might have some idea of what it is, like just the general pressure of all the stuff he's doing and it's, all that sort of stuff. But it may be something that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet. And that's where I think this thing starts to heal and the direction it starts to go. But my initial reaction, just like everybody else, didn't believe it. My eyes was lying to me. I took him out. I blew on him, put him back in, and he was still slapping. I'm like, oh,
still a hot mess.
Exactly. So that was my take.
I agree with you. 100%. Like, I was like, that slap had nothing to do with that joke. That was a slap that had been inside of him, because it takes can you imagine, for a long time? Because you think about this, you get out of your chair, you walk up those stairs. He walked down that long stage. It wasn't like he was right there on the edge. It wasn't like just like a moment. It took you had time to think about what you were about to do, and then turned around and almost like smugly walked back to the seat, sits down, and then starts yelling, starts heckling the man, So it was shocking. But Christi, your face. I was like, if Fix Your Face was a person,
that's what I'm here.
Get some holy water on my screen for this.
If Fix Your Face was a person, she's like this in the dictionary. So, Christi, I know you had a lot to say. Well, I just want your initial reaction. Your initial reaction, when you saw that.
So first, here's the funny thing for me. I laughed. I was tickled by the mention. It wasn't even a joke. I felt like it was a mention for Chris Rock to even reference G.I. Jane, because oddly enough, probably 4 days before this, I was just watching it on like AMC or some shit. It was on one of the movie channels. And I was just watching G.I. Jane. So the funny thing is I love that movie. And when he said it, my train of thought is so bizarre. I'm sitting there doing work on the laptop and in the bed watching it. And when he said it, I initially was like, oh, damn, she was slapping that. Because and I said it out loud. I was like, oh, she would be good in that because I just saw her on Equalizer with Queen Latifah. Like, she is rocking it.
She was doing action. She was really good.
But that's where my mind went. My mind went to, damn, that's a good idea.
It's not derogatory.
No, it's not. And I knew that she had alopecia. I felt like it was more endearing and almost like a bridge for them because I know that they got clowned in 2016. Chris Rock, did the whole thing. They weren't there. And Will is finally back, to get something. And in hopes that he
feel like that. I'm going to bring the 2016 up, but I didn't even feel like that was a clowning. But yeah, I'm going to bring that up because
I know it wasn't.
Yeah,
and it was fun. And listen, and it was funny as hell, and we all laughed. So, hilarious. And I'm still laughing at that because it was true. So here's the thing: when it happened, I'm looking at first. I thought my TV froze, and I was thinking, this guy, just damn internet, So I'm mad at the TV, but then I realized, I said, oh my God,
happening.
I said, something's happening. Something's happening. And so I was completely in shock. I mean, I was just shocked. I was shocked at his mannerisms, his energy. I was totally in complete fear. I don't know what the word is. I don't know if it was fear. I don't know what for Chris Rock. I mean, I just was like, holy shit. The way he kept his feet grounded. Number one, I said, that's not a joke.
Like, I don't know anyone who
really hit him
to be that.
To keep standing and then to look. I mean, just to see all of it. And I knew exactly what that man was saying in the audience because you could read his mouth. So once I saw online, of course, all of the other with the actual thing, or just to hear it,
the unedited clip, you saw the full moment. Yeah.
And I was like, I can't believe. First of all, I was just, it was shock and awe. My whole initial was shock and awe. And then I thought, surely when we come back from commercial break, he's not going to be there. Yeah. That's what I thought. So that was my initial reaction.
Whoopi Goldberg is a member of the Academy, and she explained in some forum in the aftermath, saying that the reason why they really could not bring to bear security and everything to escort him out is that all the members of the Academy and the organizing committee were scattered throughout the entire theater. Yeah. And they could not get together in time to even have the discussion because his category was like right after, the documentary category. It wasn't like they had this long commercial break or some musical number that would have taken the lights down or something like that. So they weren't even able to come together fast enough to react to it. So that one or two security that's on the left side of the stage, just was not, they didn't have the authority. They had not been given the order. They, you see that they did ask him to leave because Chris Rock was on the stage and he said no. And it's just one dude, am I going to wrestle, Will Smith in front of international cameras? No.
And so, they have, a minute and 30 seconds even though they're back from break. No, I get it. I think we all agree he should not have been there. Wanda Sykes had said, she was on Ellen, I believe today. And she basically said, she goes, the fact that he got to stay in the audience and the fact that he got to get his award, that was gross. Like she was like, it was, you can't do that. She's like, if you hit someone, you get kicked out.
He should have been dismissed, and the Williams sisters should have come down and accept that award in his stead. And that, to me, that would have at least made me feel better about the Academy. I already got issues with the Academy.
But you know what that is? That's a testament to just how shocked everybody was. I mean, you've been watching the Academy Awards is like 100 years old. We've never seen anything like this, and I don't think they've ever been prepared for anything like this. They're prepared for somebody to come from outside or like a protester to jump up in the audience or something like that.
They weren't prepared. They weren't prepared when they read the wrong name off the card. Remember like 2 years ago, and girl, like I forget her name, she read the wrong winner and it was like Moonlight won, and then she said somebody, like it was like they weren't even like, it was like no, and the person, the whole cast and crew walked up on the stage and they read it and they go, I'm sorry, Moonlight, this is your award. Like it's like one of those things. I don't think they have like, it's almost like a trigger person, like who pulls the trigger or who makes that split decision. You
know who taught us what to do in moments of like this that happened on Sunday? The bodyguard. Like, where was Kevin Costner to say, tackle this mofo? He can't charge the stage like we've seen it in art. Let's not.
Yeah.
I just cannot.
We don't know. Well, I say this. We don't know what happened because we weren't there.
Yeah,
so
no, we weren't. You're right.
You know, and I don't know if like Will Packer or his production team had the authority to kick him out because they're in charge of the filming.
So
they're and
that was the other
thing. That is the layer. The layer is we had 2 Black female hosts as well as 3 women on stage who were hosting the Oscars. That was historical. We had, he was history. He won an Oscar. And I mean, you think about Will Smith's career. He was the Fresh Prince. He was like a rapper. And he went from being, but like a goofy rapper to be having his own show, to showing that he's an actor, becoming a blockbuster action star, to then transitioning into dramatic movies and even being considered for an Oscar and actually winning the Oscar. I mean, that alone, like that all by itself, I would have sat there and took a joke and been like, "You ain't ruining my night, bro."
And that is why I'm like, something was going on with that brother, because he had to know the weight of everything that went into him sitting there. He's nominated for this Best Actor award. He's sitting in the front row, like he's not even in a row. They got tables that's like the row behind them. They sitting in the VIP section with all these other stars. They're right up on stage front, and for him to look and say, you know what? He had to know this was not national television. This was international television. Mm-hmm. I saw when I actually saw where they kept the sound on was the Japan feed, the Australian feed, the European feed was the one where they didn't edit out him yelling, and that's where you heard it from because they did it here in America. Yeah. So you thinking everyone's simulcasting this all over the planet.
They had like a 30-second delay or something, so they were able to catch it.
But he had to know the stage he was going on. Right. He had to know the weight of what he was doing. And just like you said, Karen, he had time. You can't, this isn't an impulse thing with somebody who's like right there and you just kind of snatch him up. He walked up those steps, up that runway, slapped him, turned around, came back down, and was yelling. And what's so crazy is that people thought it was a bit and were laughing at it. And Chris Rock recovered so quick from it that you thought it was a bit. Right. And if he hadn't said nothing when he got back to his seat, there would be debates to this day whether or not they had done a skit.
It was a setup for
But because you saw his face and you heard his voice, y'all like, that brother is serious.
He ain't playing.
He is not playing. This is not a bit.
Well, it was one of those
really hit you what happened.
When you're yelling and you're so mad you almost cry. Like you could see he was like, like
his veins were popping, his eyes were teared up.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I see you shaking your head, Christi, and I think I don't know if you think we're making an excuse. I'm not making an excuse.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I don't. That's not what I'm shaking my head because I hear certain. You mad? Well, no, I hear certain things and it makes me think of all the crap I've read and heard all week. I don't like the jokes I'm not a fan of the jokes. Yeah, I don't.
They're not funny.
I don't share. Funny. No. I mean, about the whole incident. Like I'm not. I won't share the video. I'm not sharing the clip. Yeah. Just the still of it. I'm thinking. So when I hear you, it's not what you're saying. It's making me relive how insane this week has been. Just again, and the divide. You talked about the divide. I have to reconsider. I'm at an age where I don't have to tolerate shit if I don't want to. Right? I don't have to have a big circle of people. I don't have to. I could have strangers support me at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I am very careful about my circle, and I feel like defending though. First of all, when you walked up there and you said it, Karen, you said him taking that long walk. First of all, you got ample time to rethink and figure out your first instinct after you looked at your wife and she was pissed after you was laughing. She might have been pissed at you, homie. But you then, for whatever reason, we can call it an excuse or a reason, you got up and took that long walk. I'm trying to figure out at that point, when you start step after step after step, you should be thinking, how am I going to do? Like, when does it not click for you? Like, I might have initially wanted to slap the taste out of his mouth, but after all that time, it wasn't like a knee jerk. It wasn't like you said, Hilton. It wasn't like he was so close to him he could have, doused his drink or something on him. Like he could have thrown something at him. It was he took time. Like he made his strut on the catwalk.
And he, I think, from Chris Rock's perspective, he probably was trying to keep his face straight so he could get close enough to Chris to actually hit him. Because if he had come up looking like he was about to tackle him, Chris might have took off or put in a different stance. Because Chris put his hands to his side and leaned in like he was going to say something to him. And that's when he hit him.
Because
and I'm like, how much thought and process went into, just like you're saying, you're really, absolutely. It's not like he squared up with him or something. He did a real quick, he put his hip into it. Like it wasn't like some ceremonial, like in the 1700s when you take the mask, the glove off and pop, like he came all the way and knocked him, and so it really was something more than the joke. Like he was in a different.
Yeah, it wasn't even that.
I won't. And I'll tell you, he comes from an abusive household. He's already rocked about this, and I think that there is trauma that is bleeding over from that. I think there's some things that maybe he has not yet dealt with. In his own self, maybe he has anger issues that because he does have such a tight circle around him, that maybe we just have not been privy to in any way. But whatever set him off, he completely transformed his mindset, and he didn't hit reset till he got home. And that's why I'm just like, this is not just, Chris Rock made a joke and he reacted to the joke. And I think that minimizes it. It takes away from the weight of it. And it insults the situation. It's a lot deeper than that, I think.
Well, I'll say this. This is one thing that it really kind of, you got to think about this. A lot of people who were taking up for Will Smith this weekend, or this whole week, have basically been saying, alopecia, it's a serious condition. It's terrible for women. I agree. I have a best friend who has alopecia, and she, developed it when she was, I believe, in her early teens. So it was the worst time for her to, and she has always worn wigs, extensions. And I even would take her to my hairstylist who worked miracles, like this woman. And it was just always, she and I bonded over that. And so I know how hurtful it is, but I don't think that joke was making fun of her condition. No, because you think about it, when G.I. Jane came out, we were yelling off the rooftop for Demi Moore for shaving her head
on camera
in a movie. Like how heroic she was in this movie, and just the character herself. Like this woman was like a strong, empowered woman fighting the system of was a Navy SEAL. She was it was one of those moments. So when, like you said, Christi, when I heard the joke, I never, ever thought it was offensive. I didn't think it was like making fun of anyone's condition. And I felt like a lot of the people who were taking up for Will were kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to call. I mean, it was like people love Will. Like we all love Will. Like I met Will. I remember meeting him at like a basketball, like a kind of like one of those celebrity basketball things. And he was so nice. Like, it was like he didn't have to speak to me. He knew the friends I was with. I'm just standing there, and he was like, "Hi, what's your name?" Like, he didn't even have to.
You're a superhero. You're a superhero. He had to speak.
He didn't know that, because we were like, it was one of those times where he's kind of walking to his car, and my friends were standing there. He knew them, stopped, and was like, oh my God, how you doing? Hugging them. And then he saw that people were with them, and to not be rude, he goes, "Hi, I'm Will. How are you?" And like shook me and 5 other people just because we were in their circle and didn't want to talk to the 2 people he knew and not speak to the other people that were there, And so it was one of those.
Signature him.
He was so nice. So but you know what? I will say this. I've been bothered for like over a year. Like the Red Table Talk, that show, I felt for over a year that Jada she's hung him out to dry for several, like he became a meme because of that August Alsina stuff, and I feel like, I forget who said this, but they said you never give the sword to the people who will cut you. Like you don't have to open up your whole life. There was no reason that I think that August Alsina was about to be leaked. That story was about to be leaked. So they decided, let's talk about it before someone else talks about it.
But years before that, though. But remember, years before that.
We always thought they were in an open marriage.
Well, they said it.
Yeah.
They said it like it was the fab thing, and we're not your typical black people who think, or you know what I mean. It was.
I'm gonna say something that is gonna seem a little controversial, but only because I have personal knowledge with it. I actually have someone very close to me who is in a relationship with someone that they are very attached to for a lot of reasons, financially, familiarly, with kids and all that stuff. And it was not their idea to be in an open marriage.
Right.
But because the dominant personality is on the other side of the partnership, and the individual who I'm attached to is more of a quiet, introverted, energy, and doesn't want to shake up the apple cart, doesn't want to lose his partner.
Yeah.
He goes along with it just to, you get along, and you go on to get along.
I know a lot of people in open relationships, and I wonder,
and it's just open. It's kind of open off at one end.
Yeah.
And I try to, it's very nuanced. You can't really do it through memes and online, but I was like, you know what? There are situations where the dominant person in the relationship is setting terms that they can get verbal confirmation from the less assertive member of the partnership, but at the core of it, they're not comfortable with it. Yeah. And you, like I said, you go on to get along, this step, this step, this step, this step, and then you end up with this pile of stuff that you're just not down with, and now you got to live with it, because it's already written into the script.
Right.
And I don't know this for a fact, but I don't get the sense that Will is 100% comfortable with even things that they say he agreed to. So this August Alsina thing, everyone's like, well, he agreed to that, and they were broken up. I'm like, they're married. Breaking up don't mean the same thing when you married as if you just boyfriend, girlfriend.
You saw it in the interview. Like when he was sitting across from her.
Look at his face.
You saw it.
He's not comfortable with this.
Not at all.
Something's wrong.
I felt like
blink twice if you're in danger.
It was one of those things where I felt the pain. Like I felt his embarrassment at times. I felt like, and like she kind of didn't even refer to it as an affair, an entanglement. Like she tried to make it sexy, and I was like, hold the phone. So either way, whatever their intentions were, I felt that moment kind of backfired, and it backfired on him. It made it, I mean, people couldn't stop talking about it. People made jokes about it. He became a meme that when he's sitting there, that hurt look he had. And it was, I know how it is. Like, I mean, I can read something on the internet. I don't normally read comments because they're not always nice. But when I could read a comment, and even I'm confident. Like I am, like, I've got confidence. But even sometimes you read it and you're just like, what? Like, oh, like you're just put off by it. Yeah. So imagine that on a global scale that is like beyond. And then even recently she'd mentioned something about their sex life and not being fully satisfied. I mean, it's just the red table talk has not been good. I don't feel like it's been good for their marriage,
I feel like the red table talk would be good if it were not on camera, but because when you're that famous. And I don't think it's any accident that, the reactions that we get for the stuff they're talking about is skewed because it reflects some of the challenges we still have in the Black community, like addressing mental health and addressing, non-traditional relationships. We're just really kind of coming into this by and large in the Black community. So, when you say a situation or what do you call it, an entanglement, like half of Black America is like, oh no. And then you're looking at Will's face and you're like, I'm not seeing that this is, you know what I'm saying? So I think then the fact that he is going through this stuff, and then there is this de-emphasis of mental health in general, but even more so for men, if it had been the other way around and it had been Will Smith talking about an entanglement with one of Willow's friends, America would have reacted to him completely differently. Fair or unfair, judge it how you want. But he's sitting there being both the joke, the victim, and the villain all at once. And then the memes come out, and that's kind of like where he was sitting. I'm not saying this is the reason where his blew him up, but this idea that everything was perfect and then it's Chris Rock came along
so many layers,
is not true. I just don't.
Well, think about this. And this is the other side of it. Chris Rock's children were at that show.
Oh, geez.
Chris Rock's daughters.
I didn't even know that.
No, I didn't know that either.
They were at the show and they witnessed that happen to their father. And like they even asked, I think Jaden, I think they said Jaden, you know, and I don't know if he was referring to his father winning an award, because they asked the question, like they asked it kind of loosely. They said, "Hey Jaden, how did you feel about everything?" And he goes, "I cried." So I don't know if he was crying because his father won the award, or if he was crying because of what happened.
Well, he got drugged on
because of his mother. You know,
I don't think he. I think he cried
Uh-uh.
because of the award, because that tweet
Yeah.
he put out.
Yeah, he
That's
got
how we
drugged
do
too.
it. I think he was okay
in
with
the moments
what happened
after.
in the moment.
Moments
But
after.
but when he talked about crying, it was probably about his
Yeah.
dad winning the award. You know? So yeah.
Well, I'll say this. Will Smith did put out an apology. He says,
Yes.
"Violence in all forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are a part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed, and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence, and in a world of love and kindness, I would also like," he says, "in a world of kindness, I would also like to apologize to the Academy, the producers of the show, all the attendees, and everyone watching around the world. I would like to apologize to the Williams family and the King Richard family. I deeply regret that my behavior has strained what has been an otherwise gorgeous journey for all of us. I am a work in progress. Sincerely, Will." Now, when that was released a day ago or 2 days ago, did you feel like it was enough, Christi?
I
think it's a well-written apology.
I think it's,
but is it enough? Is a whole nother, like,
very nicely crafted. I don't think it's okay. Here's the analogy. First of all, I have several analogies, but here's the one I'm gonna go with this. You know, when you're on the road and you're driving and you accidentally hit somebody, it's a fender bender.
Yeah.
And it's an accident. It wasn't road rage. It wasn't, you didn't ram somebody on purpose. It was an accident. Well, what happens in an accident? I still have consequences. I had an accident. It was my fault. I am sorry. I didn't mean to do that. It does, just because you apologize doesn't mean that it makes it all go away. It makes it all better. You still have, there's consequences.
Cause and effect.
And so in this regard, I do not believe that, you know, again, I know we'll talk about it. This is part of that conversation of that. I don't think that the award should be taken away from him. That project earned the award.
Yes.
So shall it stand. However, how's and never. I know some extra things need to be happening, and I know that's under investigation and all this kind of stuff. And Chris Rock has decided, you know, chosen not to press charges for now. Of course,
which I think is
the police
well,
department.
He doesn't have to press charges. I don't know if he's decided whether or not to sue.
Yeah, right. Those are two different things.
Very different.
People need to know.
I would
very
sue.
Different things.
So it would absolutely.
You're gonna have red table talk.
Right. Chris's red table talk. So
at least part of it.
Table talk is red table with a red rock. Okay, sorry, it was too much. Yeah, anyway, I think that it's not enough because it's too easy to type a tweet, you know?
Yeah.
And I know that's the world we live in, but again, I think that's also part of that unrealistic behavior. It was just, the whole thing was it was so surreal and so out of reality and out of touch. And again, that long march he took, it was very almost cinematic in a sense. And it's like, and again, we go to mental health. It's like you are struggling to separate your life, like reality from fantastical, you know, movie life. And this is not Hancock, sir. You cannot, even in Hancock, you had lessons to learn. Like he's got to do the work. And I think, let me say something about that red table. I think the other issue I have with that is, you know, nobody sitting there is trained in therapy. And I feel like it comes across as this therapeutic thing, but you don't have a train that's out of your pay grade, kind of, sort of. You know, I know you make a lot of money somewhere else, but that's not your lane to fix these problems and to discuss it. It seems to have been way more destructive in their stuff. So I don't, to answer your question, I don't think it's enough.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the red table, I honestly can say I've been entertained by that show.
A couple of times I have.
Yeah, I have.
Just a few.
But I don't like it when they talk about their own personal, like when they talk about their personal marriage. I think a personal marriage is sacred.
Yeah.
Like there are reasons it's yours and your husband's or yours and your wife's or whatever your
setup is.
Your wife
right.
and your wife
Your
or whoever,
significant
whatever
person.
it is, whoever you have joined a union with, there's a reason you have a bond. There's a reason it's the two of you. I personally did not think that apology was good enough, only because it was a well-written apology.
Yeah.
But Will Smith is quick to get on Instagram. He is quick to go live.
Huh?
He does this so much that I felt like the apology should match
the energy.
crime.
Yes.
And the crime was committed on
same
camera.
energy, sir.
You apologize on camera.
I don't think any apology is going to be enough because of the magnitude of what happened. You know, if he had said something horrible and then apologized in the same venue in which he said it, be it a tweet or a post or a video, then it's a one-to-one thing. This is just him kind of pivoting. And I don't think it was that sincere. And here's why. Because after he committed the act, 20 minutes later, he gave, a 6-minute, acceptance speech, didn't apologize to Chris Rock there at all. Yeah. Right. So it's still hanging out there.
Do you see that
at the after party, he's getting jiggy with it, getting jiggy with it. There's no sense. There's no sense of remorse or any of that stuff happening at the after party got him on camera. So we know for a fact, midnight on the night of the slap, he is getting jiggy with it, got the Oscar in his hand. He is serenading and rapping and singing to people. And then you're going to wait 36 hours and put out this well-crafted, like, where's the turn? Like, where did the turn happen?
Yeah.
The
turn happened probably when the backlash happened.
Well, the backlash and his lawyers could get a hold of him. And I think that's where this is sitting, is that there are camps that are talking, even though the individuals are not. I guarantee you, Chris Rock is on the phone with his lawyers and publicists on an ongoing basis, trying to measure what his reaction should be. And I think that Will's camp is aware that they need to mitigate this, because now the consequences are coming. And if the consequence come down before the apology comes out, the longer you wait, the less effective it is in mitigating, the backlash. And it's already started. Yeah. And I think it was crafted for him. I think he sat across from his publicist. And I can't say whether he means it or not, but because of him getting jiggy with it the night of, and the footage of him, you could see in his face, he don't give a damn. He's not mentally there with what happened. Yeah. He's getting jiggy with it. And I'm like,
that after party footage messed me up, man.
I mean,
it was kind of, and that's where I got mad. Like, I got mad at him. Like, I didn't expect to be mad at him, because I was I was mad at him, obviously, but I thought, he's got to go and talk to him. He's going to apologize. They're going to pound it out. I figured, because they're personal friends. Like, they're
like what Diddy said.
Yeah,
Diddy was like, we going
yes, we good. I'm like, first of all, Diddy, stay out of this.
When Diddy is the voice of reason and conflict resolution, things are bad.
Oh, wait, things are bad when OJ Simpson. OJ said,
ain't nobody call on OJ. Ain't nobody pull OJ string.
Orenthal crawled out from under his rock
and gave
Will Smith was wrong. And if I would have done it, I'd have got life in prison. I was like, dude, you committed murder.
You're supposed to have life in prison now.
Allegedly. Right. It was like, oh my gosh, guys, keep putting your questions in the comments. Keep putting questions there, because we're going to take some of those in a minute. It was, I know Wanda Sykes, like I said, she was like, but this is the other thing that it opens up. When you go to a comedy club, people get roasted. The comedy clubs are fun. It is a fun experience, but you can't sit on that first row. Like, you do anything to not sit on the first row, because you could get talked about, right? Yeah. So now a lot of comedians are like, he kind of cracked the door to people coming up and assaulting us. Like, when we tell a joke that makes someone mad, like, this is not a good look. Like, this isn't good. Well, I always say this: violence is never the answer. There are 80,000 other ways you can handle a situation. And I'm not talking about, let's take Will out of this. We'll take Chris out of this. if you're ever put in a situation where
with words,
you're triggered
by
with
words.
words. Yeah, with
By
words.
Let's be
Violent.
clear.
Well,
Yes.
well, this is the thing. This goes what to the Williams, Richard Williams, he made a statement and said, I don't condone violence. I only say it's necessary when you're protecting yourself in self-defense.
Right.
So
because
he's
someone
like,
is physically assaulting you.
if someone came up and hit you, then by all means, protect yourself. But if you are triggered by words or you're triggered by someone's actions that aren't causing you harm, there are 80 other ways to deal with it.
Yeah.
This is what I said.
Ways.
I even made a post about it, very early on, is because there was at a camp that came right to the forefront that was saying that in the effort of defending the honor of your partner and the Black woman and all that,
let's get into
any actions are necessary. And I said, look, you know what? I'm not going to try to go in and parse that out, but I just need to remind people, Will Smith is acting from a position of privilege that nobody else on the planet can have.
Thank you.
There is nobody on this earth that you and I know that could walk up in a venue like that on international television, slap another multimillionaire superstar, and not like really slap him, like assault this person.
Yeah.
Turn around, go back to your seat, and not end up in jail.
And chill out.
Refuse to leave.
Not get forced out of the venue, and not get sued. So I was like, look, you don't have Will Smith smack an N-word money. So if you're somebody just says something about someone that you're with, and now because the way the zeitgeist is that you got to stand up and you got to pull a Will Smith, only Will Smith can pull a Will Smith
without getting arrested.
Right.
Which is disgusting.
He knew, just think about the context. He knew going up there and slapping that man with all his heart and soul, right? He knew that Chris Rock was not going to go to his trunk, get a gun, come back and shoot.
Right.
He knew that Chris Rock didn't have goons all throughout the venue.
Right.
That he could yell hootie hoo and 5 dudes come out like Michael Jackson Bad video in the subway.
Right.
It's not. Well, that's the reality.
I see before.
He also knew this man was on national TV, so that in a sense to me was a sucker punch, because you're hitting someone who has to remain calm. You're hitting someone who, in this instance, it's almost like you see those videos when people have security. And the guy beats up somebody, but he's got security. So the person you're beating up can't hit you back because there's 5 big guys who will jump you. Like, it's like you're almost in a position of power that is indestructible, And so it's one of those things, like you said, that was a very privileged, assault where you think I'm going to walk on this stage and have the audacity to do this because no one's going to do anything to me.
Exactly. And speaking specifically to Black men, I'm not comfortable with the idea of encouraging Black men to put themselves into the arms of law enforcement on assault charges, because one step to the left or the right, and what's going on with us versus law enforcement versus what might happen to a Will Smith is night and day. Yeah. So, I wanted people to pull back from that and recognize that what you saw there is not a normal situation. It's not a situation any of us, it is literally an alternate reality, which the Oscars are. Rich millionaires congratulating themselves on their multi-million-dollar projects with gold statues.
Which I hope to be there one day.
I know, right? Now listen,
hey,
we'll
the
have our
Bob's
show nominated for
Emmy. I don't know what we get.
Best podcast, right? Christy, you were chomping at the bit. Let's talk about the fact of him, using this situation. Like he said, he was protecting his family, protecting his woman's honor.
First of all, his speech was
completely
freaking bizarre. It was a train wreck for me. I was not moved. I was thinking, who is he? What is he saying? Who is this talking? Because I didn't understand I
don't think he really knew what he was saying.
What God has for me, how God wants to you. I was thinking, that is not, I don't understand your behavior, sir.
God has nothing to do with violence.
Yeah, nothing to do with that. So I don't know.
People to
but again, he's so far removed. So let me say this. I think one of the most disgusting things, disgusting might be harsh, guys. I think one of the most disturbing things, I think really is the word, that I have had to read and deal with and look at people side eye like, what in the hell? I thought I knew this person. When they talk about this, a king gonna do it. Or that's the Black king protecting the Black queen and such. And I'm like, this did not warrant that. That was not, this is way out of context. That's not the same thing. That's not what happened here. And I'm telling you, the moment of truth came where after we tried to simmer down about an hour or two later, I had to throw my phone almost away because I was like, I don't want to touch it. I'm tired of seeing the notifications.
Right.
But I turned to my beloved, my better half, and said, let me just tell you one thing. And he said, my question was going to be to you. If I said, let me tell you something right now, homie. No, I would never approve of you doing anything like that over something somebody has said. There
Sticks
is no
and stones. What did they teach you when you were a kid? Sticks
we
and
all
stones.
were taught. I was
Words
taught
will never hurt you.
from a woman, a Black woman in Dallas County, or in Johnson County to Dallas County, whose father had to pay for her to vote. She's the reason why I'm so political to this day. She taught us since we were little that people can say whatever they want to you. She said, I don't care if they talk about your mama, your daddy, because I had gotten in trouble probably at school for something. Somebody, I shoved somebody or something, in elementary. And she was like, they can say whatever they want. They can talk about me. I don't care. Until they touch you, you keep your hands to yourself. You do not put your hands on people. That is not, again, that's not reality. Just because somebody hurts your feelings or offends you or says something you don't like, you do not get to take offense physically against them. You better learn. And in our community, you better learn how to play the dozens, or you need to go home. You got to stay home. You can't come out and play till the lights come on. You can't. If you don't know how to verbally defend yourself or just take it and keep it moving, because not everybody is
right
gifted.
on point. You're right on point with that, because remember, Chris Rock's a comedian.
Right.
And Will Smith did a little bit in stand-up. He had a little run where he was doing stand-up.
He had to be
everything.
He had to be trained for that. Remember, because he said,
exactly.
"I'm a comedic actor, but I've never done right." So
So he actually had the opportunity to be in that stage and be in that arena and be in that world even for a limited amount of time. Yeah. And Chris Rock, like you said, Chris Rock has got a brand. Yep. Him picking on people in the audience is his brand. If you've ever seen him host anything,
like 90% of them.
Right. So to think that this is some shocking thing that nobody expected from him is out of pocket. Like,
it wasn't even malicious.
These are but these are, I want to say trained, because that's not the proper word, but they have been celebrities longer than they haven't been. Right. Jada Pinkett has been famous longer than she was not famous. Right.
Yeah.
They're all teens.
So all of this, their life being groomed, with money and power and fame. This didn't hit them yesterday.
No,
this is something that has been kind of a part. They've got consultants and security advisors and lawyers and all kinds of stuff that have been around
for decades.
Each side has a team. They've got a team. Yeah. Well, I'll say this. Now, one thing this kind of made me think about is it made me think about just, people, their walls against therapy and getting, because you think about this, like Will Smith has been open. This is before he did this and before anything has happened. He's been very open about his mother being in a physically abusive relationship, him witnessing this. That's trauma. I've witnessed things like that in my own family, so I know the traumatic. It's almost like PTSD. You're triggered in ways you don't even realize. It comes up. So this is a man who has talked about going to therapy. This is a man who is said, he's working through his issues. If you read his book, he talks about that. Chris Rock is also someone. Think about this. Chris Rock is the guy who made the show Everyone Hates Chris, because he was always an outcast. He was, even by his own family, he felt like he was treated badly. He acknowledged being in therapy. He was diagnosed with NVLD. And basically what that is it's a non-verbal learning disorder. And, he got that diagnosis in his adulthood, but he always knew something wasn't right. Like he always felt like something's not right with me. But basically NVLD is a learning disability that causes difficulty with motor, visual, and social skills, so he's gone to therapy. He goes to therapy. He says he does like 7 hours a week. So this is a man who is in therapy. This is another man who is in therapy. So you have two men who've been very open about dealing with their issues and I honestly believe that therapy is what saved Chris Rock and helped him deal with that trauma, deal with, being, having that happen to him on live television. You can't do anything about it, because if he would have thrown another punch, and this is the other thing that it brought up that really upset me, was that I don't feel like Will Smith would have punched,
Ricky Gervais.
Gervais. I don't believe he would have walked up
they would
there
have said the same thing.
Because you think about it, these jokes are written. Like the reality is even the funniest of comedians, they get to go off the cuff. But the Oscars is well produced. There is a complete writer's team. This joke was rehearsed in front of producers, in front of audience. This has not been confirmed, but they even said that Will may have even heard this joke, because it's like they run the show. So it's one of those things where, Will
laughed. Can we talk about that?
Well, see, I think that's the part of it that the fact that Chris Rock is the one who took that situation and diffused it immediately. If he had, and I watched this footage, and it's so horrible to watch, because now we know what happened in real time. If he had fallen, if he had drawn blood somehow and was bleeding, or if he had started crying in any type of way,
Will Smith would have kept his fist closed instead of opening his hand.
This whole thing would be a different endeavor. But because he kept it together and kept the show moving, they didn't have to shut down the show. They didn't have to cut the feed because, one, he did have an open hand. So, he didn't do the damage, but it was still a hard hit. But if Chris had not done that, it would have been, I was like, dude, if he had fallen over, or if he had drawn blood, or if he had started crying, or if he had froze, or anything that would have
fought back,
a meeting, or any of that stuff, the situation
like I would
have been something else. Now, I am going to sit here and say this, and I'm not trying to be funny. Chris Rock is a $125 soaking wet. Let's just be honest.
He's somebody
Will Smith is 6'2", at least 210, lean
pounds.
muscle. There is no scenario on God's green earth that has Chris Rock hurting or winning any type of fisticuffs with Will Smith. So let's put that off to the side, but about what could have happened and would have. I also think that Will factored that in too.
Yeah,
you're not going to hit. You're not going to hit the Rock.
All become economic experts when we pick and fights. Like, okay, what is it going to physically cost me to walk up and hit Dwayne Johnson, or
that's a bully move?
In it right, you know what I'm saying? So you're right. I don't think he would have reacted the same way to someone else. And I'm not saying he's a punk or anything like that. It's just stuff you don't do, right? I don't race Corvettes in my Chevy. And that's just kind of like how it works.
It's two different races.
And to keep it 100%, I really think that, this was a venue that if this had not been the Oscars, I said to somebody, I said, if Chris had known what was coming, and when he got halfway up that runway, Chris knew it was coming and took off running, and Will Smith chased him off stage, it'd have been the funniest highlight in Oscar history. Even if he got hit, it would have happened off camera,
right? And we found out later.
And we maybe found out sometime later, or if they decided not to tell us,
fight backstage,
whatever.
Right.
But because he got hit on camera in the middle of that stage, and there was really nowhere to run from it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
it was so uncomfortable afterwards. Like I could barely make it.
Uncomfortable thing. And a slap is worse than a punch. To your point, Karen.
It's so loud.
It's disrespectful.
As a man, I'd rather you punch me in the face, knock out one of my teeth, or hit me in the gut and make me double over than slap me in my face.
But see,
that's the stuff that people had to get duels for.
That's so crazy.
Somebody had to die.
That's another. I'm glad you brought that up.
That's another layer.
Exactly. That brings us full circle to mental health is real. Y'all's egos and testosterones and all of the other stuff gets out of control. And I don't know what us ladies is out here thinking with our estrogen with the king is kinging. No, he not. So it's a bunch of confusion, but that is a mental health issue. To think of those things like that was masculine, that was so strong, or it wasn't strong, and it's a woman thing to slap. It's like, no, it's violence, and it was assault, and
disrespect.
I hope the papers is being written up right now,
which is worse. Like, I think disrespecting someone sometimes is worse then, so yeah, it was so bad. You know what, guys? We have been talking already an hour. I mean, it's like time flies. Okay, I want to pull up some of the things that some of the people have said. Tavon, he says Steve Harvey said that that would not have happened to the kings of comedy. Yeah, he wouldn't have hit Bernie Mac.
No,
I don't think any of them. But
you understand what I'm saying?
That's where I think you brought up, like,
I ain't scared of you,
Will
motherfuckers.
Smith is 6 feet tall, and it's like that wasn't like, yeah, that was just so bad. It's so bad. Okay, all jokes. What is this? I hope I say her name right. Kai Osif. I hope I said that. Kyosef. He says, all jokes aside, he dealt with that situation very professionally, and I honestly respect that a lot. I agree. Like Chris you said,
Rock, right?
Chris Rock diffused. But this is okay. That brings up our last point. The last point is, I saw so many comments, like you said, from men and women who were saying he had to defend his woman, and if you talk about mine, I'm gonna hit you too. And I just was like, are we really that generation who still is gonna fight like adults? Like, you're an adult, you're fighting.
Crazy.
Like, that's just insane to me.
Crazy.
Like, I'm not getting a felony charge over none of y'all.
Because you're talking for somebody talking.
I will defend
shit.
you.
That's all that is.
Yeah, for
shit.
someone
I'm
talking.
not hitting nobody over talking shit. We not doing.
You know how many jokes have been? I've gotten so many jokes when I became a Power Ranger. It was like there was so how many Power Ranger jokes we have had to sit through.
Right?
And so
parodies, all of that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the nature of the business.
Yeah, it's just part of it, and man.
And at the end of the day, what it points to, and the real danger is not just about the way men and women interact out in the open, is that is it now open season on comics? Because any comedy show you go to, if a comedian can see you and your shirt is funky, or you looking crazy,
or you get up to go
to for something, they're gonna pick on you. That's what happens.
Even if nothing's wrong with you, they'll make up something. They'll be like, okay, hair,
now,
okay.
all the stand-up comics are like worried that, like, okay, is this gonna start a trend? Every time a comedian goes in on somebody got a hole in the shoe, or somebody is laughing funny, and is this going to be the new thing? Are comics going to be safe on that stage? Because I don't know if you've been to a comedy show, but the stage is like right there.
Right
there.
There's
no distance. There's no security.
They're not up high. There's nothing. And it's you and them, and you're just yeah. Well, I will say this. I will say Amanda Seales, I was watching her, and she goes, y'all don't deserve comedy. She said, some people out there don't deserve it. She goes, that wasn't even a joke that was worthy of being offended. She goes, y'all just need to stay home and watch This Is Us and cry.
Okay. I'm with you.
But that goes to that sensitive, like the sensitive culture that we kind of have right now. People are very sensitive. People are very triggered. People are very on edge.
But it feels so pseudo though, guys, doesn't it? It feels like it was just not an argument. It doesn't hold water. It wasn't a malicious, aggressive. He
didn't even know she had alopecia.
I mean, and even if he did,
multiple sources, he didn't know.
Even
if he did, it's not worthy.
And many people say that she was in his, or it was referenced, I guess, in his hair movie, his black hair movie. Here's the thing:
the crime did not finish the punishment.
It did not, and there's no way to justify it. I don't care what nobody says. Again.
I didn't know she had it. I just thought she looked. I thought she looked good with her hair.
I did too, and I still wasn't offended.
She's had her hair shaved before, so I was like, she
always had short hair. Yeah. Like she's always been slap bald somewhere on a piece of her head where it was clean cut, because she's got that kind of. She rocks that.
She can do it. She can do it. She can wear it, and her head, her body. She's little. Everything she wears it like it works. Yeah,
she wears it like it's intentional.
She don't have a peanut shaped head either, so it looked good.
Yeah,
it just looks good.
She's very proportionate.
Just as sexy with a whole bunch of hair.
Head to body is
no clip. Don't have that clip hanging out in the back.
So Jada, if you happen to watch this, we letting you know you look sexy with hair, without hair. There's no bad looking Jada out there
without hair.
So if you feel insecure about your look, call me. I got some encouragement. I'm telling you, you look great. And so that there's nobody on no earth that looked at Jada Pinkett and was like, oh, she looked crazy with her hair.
Now y'all just need to go. I'm glad you said just go get some healing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That I think is the moral of the story.
So
No one goes from laughing to punching or slapping within 2.2 seconds. That is just not a normal reaction.
Mm-mm.
So that is just it's just a mirror of you need to figure out those deep-seated issues. And we all have them.
Yeah.
No one is issue free. Everyone has them, and we definitely encourage therapy. You know, there are a lot of resources that you can use. But guys, this was our first live
show.
Fully live.
Like fully live, not even like, you know, we pre-tape and yeah, we are live. So if we said something wrong, then oh well.
I mean, and listen,
wait, are we closing out the show? Can
We're
we
closing
drink
out.
our
We're
liquor
closing
now?
You can drink.
This is our therapy. This is a
Chrissy's
black-owned
been
liquor
drinking.
company right here. So
before we started, she was like, I gotta go get some wine, because this was on edge. But I hope this conversation, I hope the honesty in this show, I hope that everyone is able to get something from it, because that's at the end of the day, we want you to get something from what we're doing. We don't want to just be on our soapboxes and just talking. Yeah, we really want you to get something from this, and we love all of you. We are a new show.
Can I say something?
Yes, you can say anything.
I just want to say, okay, y'all know my household that I live in, and my significant other is we are basketball families over here.
Yes.
So
yes,
the March Madness is going down, and last night we had one of our I guess last night was the McDonald's All-American. So shout out to Dallas, broke a record. They had 5 kids on boys on the boys team representing, so that was huge. But tonight I'm wearing my tailor made which is Wade Taylor the 4th. He is at Texas A&M, and he's in the NIT championship that plays I think tomorrow. So I want to send him all the love. He is one of my favorites out of Lancaster High School. So I just had to do that. This is his brand. You know, the college kids can make money now, y'all. Y'all go support Tailor Made. All right.
And you know what? Do you have anything to say, Hilton?
No. Shout out. Listen, I didn't play sports in high school or college. I had TDD, and it didn't allow me to play sports. For any of you who don't know what TDD is,
what is
it's
that?
Talent deficit disorder. And I left all my skill on the football field.
Everybody got a disorder.
After that, it was gone. Don't nobody want to play Foursquare anymore. I'll get you in some Foursquare.
I love it. You guys. Oh my God. Before we get off, I want to send a shout out to Dana, who is our producer, one of our producers. She's in the back. Dana, you can show yourself if you want to. I don't know where she is. I want Dana to say hi, and then we're going to say goodbye. Dana he helps us every show. It's our live show. We got to shout out Dana. We love you guys.
DM the DM.
Tune in next Tuesday. We got a new episode of the BOP, the BLERD official podcast. We love you. Give us a like, give us a share, tell everybody about us. We're having fun. We're hopefully helping each other.
I got the logo. Yes. I love it.
This was good therapy. I feel better, y'all.
The BOP.
I know, me too.
BOP, BLERD official podcast.
Hey.
The BOP.
Okay.
That's a